Let's talk about marriage.
Marriage, or any partnership for that matter, is a give and a take.
Specifically, the marital privilege.
You see this on TV? I gotta watch TV to figure out the world.
Marital privilege, aka spousal privilege, is meant to protect private spousal communications and prevent testimony against a spouse from being used in judicial proceedings.
It's that doctor-patient privilege.
This is a different privilege, Mikey, but I like where your head's at.
It's a simple question. Can they make me testify or not?
I always laugh when Adriana says, "Oh my God, it's a simple question," because, as most of us know, hardly anything's a simple question, particularly when it comes to a court of law.
Short answer? Probably.
We'll be right back after a quick message from our sponsor.
Allegra, ain't that a cold medicine?
Means happiness in Italian. The fuck's that got to do with cold medicine?
Let's get back to marital privilege.
I'll tell you though, the main thing about getting married, I could never be called to testify.
Wait, hold on, Adriana. There are some rules.
In order to claim marital privilege, 3 conditions must be met. First, the communication must have been made during the course of the marriage. Anything said before you were married is fair game. 2, the communication must involve only the spouses. The presence of a third party destroys the privilege. And 3, the communication can't be made in furtherance of a crime.
Whoa!
These privileges are recognized under Federal Rule of Evidence 501. So to go a little bit more in depth, there are actually 2 privileges that arise from the marital relationship. The spousal testimonial privilege gives witnesses the right to refuse to testify against their spouse in criminal proceedings. The marital communications privilege allows witnesses to refuse to reveal confidential marital communications and to prevent their spouse from doing so. And as for important case law, in Trammell versus United States, the Supreme Court held that a witness spouse alone holds the privilege to either refuse to testify or waive the privilege and testify against the spouse.
There's exceptions.
First, if the private communication is revealed to third parties, if one spouse is suing the other, like in a divorce proceeding, or, number 3, when one spouse is charged with a crime against the other or against a child, like a domestic violence or abuse situation. Spousal testimonial privilege, on the other hand, doesn't apply under the following circumstances. When a marriage is over, or of course, if it was never valid in the first place.
Oh my God, if this ever gets out.
Or if the spouse that would potentially be a witness waives the privilege.
I can resist the urge to gossip.
And something important to keep in mind is that case law and statutes in general are constantly evolving. So what I'm saying right here could be different 2 years from now, in which case I'll update the video and make a new one. But just wanted to clarify that. We'll be right back after a quick message from our sponsor. When you've got no privilege, call privilege.
What are you doing?
It's a privilege. Hard-working guy. Wife and 2 kids. Performing a civic duty we should all take part in. We know you do the right thing.
But do these wise guys even talk to their wives about the business? Not generally, but sometimes it comes up in conversation.
You always sold yourself short.
You know, that's not what I mean. You know me. Listen, Gad, I never talked to you about my work.
And?
I'm gonna tell you something I never told anybody. Back when Jackie was at the end, they floated the idea of me stepping up to the big seat. Not Tony, me.
You're set in perpetuity. There's money in overseas accounts.
I don't have the serial numbers.
You'll have them when the time comes. Not now. For your own benefit. So you're not an accomplice.
What the hell happened over there?
Janice decided to go back to Seattle.
You're kidding. Well, what about Richie? He must be devastated.
Richie's gone.
Well, what do you mean gone?
Gone.
Where?
Come on, after 18 years of marriage,
Don't make me make you an accessory after the fact.
We'll be right back after a quick message from our sponsor. Save the Privilege, a flower delivery service saving everything from marriages to spousal privileges and everything in between.
Then he went back to do whatever the fuck he was doing, spraying WD-40 on his pocket knife.
Don't you know about pussy? He went in the program. He turned on everybody, us, the people he knew his whole life.
So this privilege dates back to the original notion that a husband and wife were only one person. And I think about this concept here when Rosalie talks about Puss going into the program and how Angie's not welcome there anymore, even though Angie had nothing to do with it. So if Ange had actually divorced Puss, and then Puss had gotten arrested for the murder of Matt Bevilacqua, would Angie be able to avoid testifying at trial if she had information about the crime? No, because she's not married to him anymore, so spousal testimonial privilege would no longer apply. So now let's take a look at some recent or fairly recent cases involving spousal privilege across the country. In 2019, there was a murder case before the New Mexico Supreme Court where they actually abolished spousal privilege, but then they reinstated it the next year. In the state of Maryland, a bill was recently passed and signed into law that stripped away spousal privilege from individuals who get married after the date of the alleged crime, with the sole purpose of not having to then testify against one another. There was also a proposal in the Iowa state legislature earlier this year that would have required residents to testify against a spouse in cases involving threats by one against the other or to a third party. In New Jersey versus Terry, the court ruled that a confidential marital communication protected under the marital communications privilege does not lose its privilege status by virtue of a wiretap. However, the court proposed a crime fraud exception to this marital communications privilege. And the following year, in 2015, New Jersey did adopt this crime fraud exception to the marital privilege. Finally, the wedding wall of shame.
Lisa told me that her and Ricky's wedding, Bobby Cancineri, didn't even cover his plate.
Shut up.
$40 in an envelope. Not even a card.
This model got such a good write-up, I got one for myself. You're gonna love it.
Okay, let's move on, okay?
Congratulations.
I just gave a Gino to Larry Boy's kid for the boost. If I knew I may have to limit in a hurry, I would have duped her another time.
But at the end of the day, something key to remember here for our purposes, for the Sopranos world, is that beyond the laws, case law, evolving statutes, changing legislators, there's one privilege that's even stronger than the one you can find in the federal rules of evidence. And that's the Cosa Nostra.
How dare you let her suffer humiliation and embarrassment at the hands of an outsider?
They want you to testify, they're going to find a way.
What?
Case law and rules are different from state to state, so if you're actually looking to learn more about this for practical purposes, you should definitely look up your state rules and laws. Okay, one more thing.
Stay out of trouble.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a little something. If you did, give it a like, comment, and let me know what you think.